Welcome, everyone. I hope you're doing well and feeling great today. You're about to hear one of the most incredible stories in the world. The story of Buddha, a man whose teachings have influenced over 500 million people across the globe. From China to Japan, India to Nepal, and all the way to Thailand and beyond. Buddha's life continues to inspire millions of hearts and minds today. But here's something even more amazing. This story isn't just about a historical figure. It's about you. Yes, you. Because the lessons Buddha taught aren't just for monks or people from ancient times. They are lessons that can change your life today. No matter where you are from, what your struggles are, or what language you speak. In this video, we'll dive deep into his journey. Starting from his birth, his struggles, his search for the truth, and everything in between. And guess what? While you're listening, you're also going to improve your English. That's right. As you hear this story, you'll be learning new words, phrases, and life-changing lessons. If you're ready to unlock the power of Buddha's story and at the same time, learn English in a fun and exciting way, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Here, we offer amazing stories, book summaries, and life-changing lessons, all while helping you improve your English. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a journey that will not only change the way you think, but also help you speak better English. Let's dive in. Part 1. The Birth of a Prince. Once upon a time, in a kingdom called Lumbini, which is now part of Nepal, a baby boy was born who would change the world forever. His name was Siddhartha Gautama, but later he would be known to the world as Buddha, the Enlightened One. Siddhartha was born to King Suddhodana and Queen Maya, who were rulers of the Shakya clan. The moment he was born, something extraordinary happened. It is said that when Siddhartha's mother, Queen Maya, gave birth, she was standing in a beautiful garden, and as she held the baby in her arms, the trees bowed down and flowers bloomed all around her. This event was a sign that the child was special. The baby Siddhartha was beautiful, with a glowing face that seemed to shine like the moon. At his birth, a prophet predicted that the baby would either become a great king or a spiritual teacher who would bring peace to the world. However, the king, his father, did not want Siddhartha to become a spiritual teacher. He wanted him to be a powerful king, just like him. To ensure this, King Suddhodana surrounded Siddhartha with luxury and kept him in the palace. He gave him the best education, fine clothes, and anything he could desire. The palace was full of beautiful gardens, servants, and entertainers, and Siddhartha grew up enjoying all of this. No pain, no suffering, no hardship. His father believed that if Siddhartha was never exposed to the outside world, he would never experience the harsh realities of life and would choose to be a king. As Siddhartha grew older, his beauty and charm became well known, and many people admired him. He had everything a person could want: wealth, comfort, friends, and a loving family. However, there was always a feeling inside him that something was missing. One day, Siddhartha was curious. He asked his father if he could go outside the palace walls. His father was reluctant, but finally agreed, thinking that seeing the outside world would show Siddhartha how lucky he was to live in the palace. So Siddhartha set out on his journey, excited to see what was beyond the palace gates. But what he saw that day would change his life forever. As he rode through the streets of the city, he saw things he had never seen before. The first thing he noticed was an old man walking slowly, with a tired face and wrinkled skin. Siddhartha was shocked. He had never seen someone so old before. He asked his charioteer, "What is this?" The charioteer replied, "This is what happens to all of us. We grow old and weak." Siddhartha was confused. He had never thought about growing old. He always thought that life was perfect, that everyone lived happily forever. As they continued their journey, they saw something else that troubled Siddhartha. A sick man lying by the road, suffering in pain. Siddhartha asked, "What is wrong with him?" The charioteer explained, "This is disease, and it can affect anyone, no matter how rich or poor." Siddhartha's heart was heavy. He began to realize that the world was not as perfect as he had thought. People grow old, people get sick, and people die. His perfect life inside the palace seemed like a dream compared to the harsh reality outside. But there was more to see. As they continued, Siddhartha saw a dead body lying on the ground. People were crying and mourning. Siddhartha asked, "What is this?" "This is death," the charioteer replied, "and all living beings will experience it." Siddhartha felt a deep pain in his heart. He realized that everyone must face old age, sickness, and death. And no matter how rich or powerful you are, you cannot escape these truths. Finally, they came across a monk sitting peacefully under a tree. The monk had no money, no family, no palace. He was dressed in simple robes and was completely calm, with a peaceful smile on his face. Siddhartha asked, "Who is this man? Why is he so peaceful?" The charioteer replied, "This is a holy man, a seeker of truth. He is at peace because he has let go of his desires and accepted the reality of life." This moment changed Siddhartha forever. He realized that wealth and luxury could not bring true happiness. Peace and freedom could only be found by understanding the truth of life. And that was when Siddhartha made a life-changing decision. He would leave the palace, leave his family, and set out on a journey to find the truth of life, to understand why people suffer and how they could find peace. Part 2. Siddhartha's Search for Truth. After Siddhartha's eye-opening experiences in the city, he could not go back to his life of luxury. The palace, his father's kingdom, the comfort, and everything he had ever known seemed pointless now. He realized that life was much more than just pleasure, and he had to find the truth that could help him overcome suffering. The pain of seeing old age, sickness, and death in the world had awakened something deep inside him. Siddhartha felt like he had to discover the answers to these questions about life. He had everything: wealth, family, love. But it wasn't enough. True happiness, he believed, was hidden somewhere beyond the walls of the palace. But there was another thing that weighed on his heart. Siddhartha was married to a beautiful woman named Yasodhara, and they had a young son together named Rahula. Siddhartha loved his family deeply. Yasodhara was not only his wife, but also his best friend, and they shared many special moments. But as much as Siddhartha loved them, he could not ignore the truth he had seen in the outside world. He couldn't ignore the fact that people suffered. He couldn't ignore the truth of old age and death. He needed to find peace, and he believed the only way to do so was to leave everything behind and seek answers. One night, while his wife and son were sleeping peacefully, Siddhartha made a difficult decision. He had already made up his mind, but it was still hard. Leaving his family was the greatest sacrifice he could make. but it was the only way to find the answers he sought. Siddhartha quietly left the palace, not wanting to wake his wife or son. He didn't want them to stop him, to hold him back. He knew that they loved him, but he also knew that he had to follow his own path to find the truth. As he walked out of the palace gates, a deep sadness filled his heart. He looked back one last time at the life he was leaving behind, but there was no turning back now. The moment he stepped outside the gates, he became a renunciant, someone who had given up everything in search of higher truth. Buddha left his palace at the age of 29. Siddhartha traveled for many days and nights, with nothing but the clothes on his back. He found himself in a forest where he met many holy men, known as ascetics, who had also left the material world to search for enlightenment. These ascetics believed that the only way to find truth was through self-denial and suffering. They would fast for long periods, live in discomfort, and meditate for hours without moving. They believed that by suffering, they would purify themselves and come closer to spiritual enlightenment. Siddhartha joined them and began following their practices. For years, he lived in the harshest conditions, meditating for hours on end, not eating enough, and pushing his body to the limit. He believed that by denying his body's needs, he could find the ultimate truth. But after a long time of struggling, he realized something important. Self-denial was not the answer. He was becoming weaker and weaker. His body was so thin that he could barely stand. Yet his mind was still not at peace. He had learned that extreme suffering didn't lead to enlightenment. It only led to pain and exhaustion. One day, Siddhartha collapsed from hunger and weakness. A woman named Sujata found him lying near a river. She gave him some milk rice, and Siddhartha drank it with gratitude. The milk rice nourished him, and he realized that balance was the key to finding peace. Extreme fasting and self-denial were not the answers. Instead, he needed to take care of his body and mind in a balanced way. So Siddhartha decided to take a new approach to his search. He understood that peace and enlightenment didn't come from suffering, nor did it come from living a life of luxury. It came from finding the middle path, a way of living that was balanced, where you could still experience life, but without being attached to its pleasures or pains. Now, Siddhartha set out for Bodh Gaya, where he would sit under a famous tree, known today as the Bodhi tree, and meditate until he found the answers he was looking for. This was the most important moment of his life. He found a comfortable place under the Bodhi tree, sat down, and made a vow. He promised that he would not rise up until he had found the truth. He was determined, and this was his final decision. He would sit there and meditate until the answers came. For 7 days, Siddhartha sat under the Bodhi tree, focusing his mind and searching deeply into his own heart. But the journey was not easy. During his meditation, he was attacked by Mara, the demon of temptation, who wanted to distract him from his mission. Mara sent powerful forces to disturb Siddhartha's peace. He sent storms, rain, and even beautiful women to distract him. But Siddhartha remained calm, focused, and unshaken. He did not allow Mara's tricks to disturb him. He continued to meditate, and gradually, he began to feel the presence of something greater. On the 5th night of his meditation, Siddhartha finally experienced a deep sense of awakening. He realized the truth of life. After sitting under the Bodhi tree for 7 days, Siddhartha's mind was finally free. He had achieved the state of perfect enlightenment, a state of inner peace, where he understood the true nature of life and suffering. He had become the Buddha, the awakened one. The path he had been searching for, the middle way, was now clear to him. Siddhartha had spent so much time searching for answers, but the answers had always been within himself. Through his meditation and deep reflection, he understood the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. These teachings would now become the foundation of his life's mission. The Buddha's first teaching was to share the Four Noble Truths with others. He wanted to help all beings understand the causes of suffering and how to end it. Here's a breakdown of these powerful truths. 1. Suffering, dukkha, exists. Life is full of suffering, whether it's physical pain, emotional struggles, or the inevitable aging and death we all face. No one can escape these challenges, no matter how much we try to avoid them. 2. Suffering has a cause. The cause of suffering is desire and attachment. We suffer because we crave things: wealth, fame, love, and material things. We're attached to ideas, relationships, and outcomes, and when these things change or disappear, we suffer. 3. Suffering can end. The good news is that suffering can be ended. By letting go of desire and attachment, we can find inner peace. This is not about escaping the world, but about changing how we react to the world. 4. The path to the end of suffering. The way to end suffering is by following the Eightfold Path. This is a guide to living a life of balance, wisdom, and compassion. The Eightfold Path includes right view, understanding the nature of life, suffering, and the truth. Right intention, making decisions based on kindness, compassion, and wisdom. Right speech, speaking truthfully and kindly, avoiding lies or harmful words. Right action, acting ethically and with integrity, avoiding harmful behaviors. Right livelihood, choosing a career or life path that does not harm others. Right effort, cultivating good qualities and avoiding bad ones. Right mindfulness, being fully aware of the present moment and mindful of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Right concentration, developing deep meditation and focusing the mind. These teachings became the foundation of Buddhism. The Buddha believed that anyone could practice the Eightfold Path and find peace and freedom from suffering, no matter where they came from or what their background was. It was about personal transformation, and it was available to all. Buddha's first disciples. After his enlightenment, Buddha realized he could not keep his newfound wisdom to himself. The world needed to hear it. He went to the city of Varanasi, where he met his first 5 disciples, a group of ascetics who had once practiced the harsh ways of self-denial with him. They had witnessed his extreme suffering and thought he had given up on his search for truth. But now, Buddha was radiating with the wisdom of the universe. At first, they were skeptical. How could the man who had once practiced extreme asceticism now teach a new way? But as Buddha began speaking to them, they began to listen. His words were powerful, calming, and filled with deep insight. Buddha shared the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path with them, explaining that they did not need to punish their bodies to find peace. Instead, they needed to cultivate mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. Balance was the key, not extremes. One by one, his disciples began to understand. They realized that Buddha had found the way to end suffering, and they wanted to follow him. The Buddha's first 5 disciples became the first members of his monastic community, known as the Sangha. Together, they would spread his teachings to the world. Buddha's compassionate nature. What made Buddha's teachings so special was not just the wisdom in his words, but his compassionate heart. Buddha was not interested in just sharing knowledge. He was interested in helping people change their lives. He didn't just preach the teachings from a high pedestal. He lived them. Buddha showed people that by practicing the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, they could transform their suffering into peace. He helped countless people, from rich kings to poor beggars, from young children to old men, understand the path to true happiness and inner peace. One of the most beautiful aspects of Buddha's teachings is his non-judgmental nature. He welcomed everyone into his community, no matter their social status, background, or beliefs. In his eyes, everyone had the potential to find enlightenment, and he treated everyone with the same love and respect. Buddha's family and the middle path. Despite his journey of seeking enlightenment, Buddha did not forget about his family. His wife, Yasodhara, and his son, Rahula, were still living in the palace. When they heard that Siddhartha had become the Buddha, they were deeply moved. Yasodhara had once shared Siddhartha's dreams and desires, but now she understood the wisdom in his journey. Yasodhara was deeply touched by the fact that Siddhartha had sacrificed everything for the greater good, to bring peace and freedom from suffering to the world. Yasodhara herself became an important figure in the early community of Buddhists. She understood that true happiness didn't come from wealth or attachment to material things, but from inner peace and compassion. Rahula, Siddhartha's son, also later became a monk, following his father's path of enlightenment. As Buddha continued his journey, the years passed, and his teachings began to spread far and wide. His influence grew stronger, not just in the land of his birth, but across different kingdoms and regions. He didn't just teach people through words, but through the way he lived. Humble, peaceful, and filled with compassion. He didn't want people to simply listen to him, but to understand, practice, and experience the teachings for themselves. His followers were diverse, rich and poor, kings and beggars, men and women. Buddha accepted all. His message was universal, transcending the boundaries of caste, wealth, and even nationality. What made Buddha's teaching so powerful was his ability to connect with people from every walk of life. His words were simple yet profound, and his life was the greatest example of his message. The importance of meditation and mindfulness. One of the most important aspects of Buddha's teachings was meditation. He showed the world that the mind, though filled with distractions and suffering, could be tamed through consistent practice. Meditation wasn't just a practice. It was the key to achieving true inner peace. Buddha himself meditated under the Bodhi tree for 49 days in the stillness of the night, refusing to leave until he had achieved enlightenment. During this time, he faced many temptations, including the demon Mara, who tried to shake his resolve. But Buddha remained firm, his heart and mind undisturbed. He often taught his disciples that meditation was not just about sitting in silence, but about learning to be fully present, to understand the workings of the mind, and to realize the impermanence of life. Mindfulness became a cornerstone of his teachings. Buddha explained that everything in life is temporary. Our emotions, our relationships, and even our own bodies. This realization freed people from unnecessary suffering because they learned to let go of attachment. Buddha's teachings provided a roadmap for anyone who wanted to live a life of peace, love, and wisdom. His approach was realistic and practical. He didn't promise that life would be easy, but he showed people how to handle the inevitable suffering that comes with being human. By now, Buddha's teachings were becoming famous beyond the borders of India. His words resonated with people in Nepal, China, Japan, Thailand, and even far into Southeast Asia. His ideas about compassion, mindfulness, and the nature of existence spoke to people from all walks of life. From the monks who gave up everything to follow him, to the lay people who heard his sermons, Buddha's message transcended time, culture, and belief systems. Everywhere Buddha went, people gathered to hear him speak. His wisdom spread quickly, and followers began to form communities dedicated to following his teachings. As Buddha continued to teach, he encountered many debates and challenges. Some questioned his ideas, while others tried to test his wisdom. But Buddha remained calm, always answering with patience and clarity. He never raised his voice, and he never allowed anger or frustration to cloud his judgment. His final teachings before his death are some of the most powerful in all of Buddhist literature. Buddha spoke about the importance of impermanence, teaching that nothing in this world is permanent, including life itself. He encouraged his followers to live with awareness and to find the truth in their own hearts. Buddha's message was clear. Do not rely on anyone outside yourself. Seek the truth within. Part 3. The Final Journey and the Death of Buddha. As Buddha's life drew to its natural conclusion, he knew that his time was approaching. His body had aged, and the physical pain that comes with old age had begun to settle in. Yet, despite all this, he remained as calm and serene as ever, a true testament to the teachings he had shared for so long. He had already reached the pinnacle of human wisdom and compassion, and his death, like his life, was filled with profound lessons for his followers. In the last year of his life, Buddha set out on a journey to a place called Kushinagar, a quiet, peaceful town in present-day India. It was here, amidst the beautiful countryside, that he would breathe his last breath. He had been traveling for a long time, visiting different places and spreading his teachings. Everywhere he went, people lined the roads, eager to hear the man who had inspired millions, and those who had already followed him with love and reverence. As Buddha walked, he knew that his death was imminent, but he was not afraid. He had already conquered the greatest fear of all, death itself. For Buddha, death was not something to be feared or mourned. It was a natural part of the cycle of life, just as birth and growth were. His calmness in the face of death was a reflection of everything he had taught, to accept life's impermanence and to live fully without attachment to anything, not even life itself. Buddha's last meal. Before reaching Kushinagar, Buddha stopped in a village where he was offered food by a blacksmith named Kunda. The meal he was given, some texts say, was either poisoned or simply spoiled. Buddha, ever the calm and peaceful figure, ate it without any complaint, accepting it with gratitude. This meal caused Buddha severe stomach pain, but instead of reacting with anger or frustration, he taught his disciples one final lesson. Nothing in life is permanent, not even pain or sickness. He told them that physical suffering was part of life, But the mind could remain peaceful and unaffected if one practiced mindfulness and detachment. The poison from the meal eventually took its toll, and Buddha's physical condition worsened. His body began to show signs of severe distress, but his spirit remained steadfast and undisturbed. This moment was a final demonstration of the power of the teachings Buddha had shared with the world. No matter the external circumstances, we have the ability to remain peaceful within. Buddha's last words. As Buddha lay in his final moments, surrounded by his loyal disciples, his mind was clear, and his heart was at peace. The final words that Buddha spoke were among the most profound teachings he had ever shared. He turned to his followers and, in his calm, serene voice, said, "Be a light unto yourselves. Strive on with diligence. You must work out your own salvation with diligence. Nothing in the world is permanent. All things arise and pass away. Your life is but a fleeting moment. Seek your own liberation. The truth is already within you." These words were a final call for his disciples and all those who would follow his path. Buddha wasn't telling them to rely on external things or on any man or being. Instead, he was urging them to look within themselves for the answers, to find their own truth, and to strive for liberation from suffering. It was an invitation to live life with wisdom and compassion, to be the master of one's own mind and actions. Buddha died peacefully, entering parinirvana, the final deathless state, free from the cycle of birth and rebirth. His death was a moment of profound calmness and acceptance, a reflection of everything he had lived for. Even in his passing, Buddha remained an embodiment of his teachings: impermanence, acceptance, and mindfulness. His followers, deeply moved by his death, were unsure of what to do next. Buddha had shown them the path, but now he was no longer physically with them. They realized that the most important lesson Buddha had taught them was not through his words alone, but through the way he had lived. Buddha had lived his life as a teacher, but more importantly, he had lived his life as an example of how to face suffering, how to seek enlightenment, and how to live a life full of peace, love, and compassion. Buddha's life and teachings became a beacon of light for millions, guiding them on their own journeys toward peace and enlightenment. His message of compassion, mindfulness, and impermanence continues to resonate today. The teachings of the Dharma, the Noble Eightfold Path, and the Four Noble Truths became the foundation of one of the world's largest and most influential spiritual traditions, Buddhism. Buddha's story is not just the story of one man. It is the story of humanity itself, a story of struggle, transformation, and the ultimate triumph over suffering. It is a story that will continue to inspire generations to come, reminding us all of the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity and find peace. As we come to the end of Buddha's incredible journey, we are left with the most important lessons that he has shared with us, lessons that continue to guide millions of people all around the world. Buddha's life was not just a story of one person. It is a story for all of us, reminding us that peace, wisdom, and compassion are within reach for every one of us, no matter what struggles we face. Buddha taught us that life is filled with challenges, but it is how we respond to those challenges that defines us. His message was simple but powerful. Suffering is a part of life, but it does not define us. We can overcome suffering, find peace, and live a life of wisdom and love. He showed us that through inner peace, we can rise above our difficulties and create a world of understanding and compassion. let us reflect on 3 of Buddha's most important life lessons that can change our lives for the better. Buddha's life lessons. Be present. Buddha taught us that the present moment is where true peace lies. Don't dwell on the past or worry about the future. Focus on today, live with awareness, and embrace each moment as it comes. Let go of attachments. Letting go of our attachments is key to finding freedom. Buddha showed us that nothing in life is permanent, so holding on to things or people can only bring pain. Learn to live with an open heart, free from the chains of attachment. Live with compassion and love. Buddha's teachings remind us to show love and kindness to all beings. By practicing compassion, we create a ripple effect of goodness that can heal the world. So, what can we take away from Buddha's incredible journey? We learn that, like Buddha, we too can face our challenges with wisdom, calmness, and a peaceful heart. We have the power to transform our lives, no matter what obstacles stand in our way. Buddha's story is not just his. It's a story of every human being, showing us that we can rise above suffering and find inner peace. So, as you go about your day, remember Buddha's teachings. Live in the moment. Let go of attachments. Practice love and compassion. Know that you are the master of your own peace and happiness. Thank you for joining me today to explore Buddha's life and teachings. I hope you found inspiration in his story. Remember, no matter where you are in life, you have the power to change your story. We'll continue this journey of learning and growth together. See you tomorrow, where we'll explore more life-changing lessons and motivational stories that will help you grow and improve your life. Until then, stay peaceful, stay wise, and most importantly, stay compassionate. You have the power to create the life you dream of.